G'day, g'day. Welcome to Widowed Trio and Freedom. I'm Rob Birdsey. Today I have a very important guest. I know him through his son, and just the path that's brought us together, I think, is very sacred. I'm extremely appreciative of it. But first of all, let's get into this. If you want to see us, we're live right now on YouTube. You can see us going through this, and it's Widowed, Trio, and Freedom. Widowed, I'm a widowed dad. Trio, I have 2 little boys. And Freedom, I do this for the freedom of our minds, and hopefully it'll free your minds too. My guest today, you're Polynesian, right?
I am.
Okay, so the name's a little bit tricky, guys, and I just understand Polynesian names are tricky. But so your first name's Oscar. How do you say your last name?
Fukahua.
Fukahua.
Yep.
Okay, just so we get that out there, everyone understands. There's nothing shady going on here. Oscar, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And thank you for taking your time and being here today. I think what you do and what I do are very similar things, except for you've got an amazing voice, and your your motto is heal the world through your music, right?
That's correct.
Yeah. What got you started? And you are on TikTok. So anyone out there that wants to hear what he's got going on, say your TikTok place.
O's House 79
Okay.
is my handle on TikTok. You can find me there on the O Show.
On the O Show, there you go. Bring that mic just a little bit closer to you for the radio. Yeah, yeah. And just get comfortable. This will move around for us, no worries. What got you started on that?
You know, it's a funny story. You know, I've got a set of twin boys, an older boy, and then a daughter. And my kids love when I was singing on Facebook and had thousands of people on there always listening to me. And right before COVID, Drake and his twin Drew came home from school and they're like, "Dad, you need to sing on TikTok." I said, "I don't even know what TikTok is," right? I had no idea what it was. And then and then of course we start going into COVID, and a lot of depression, a lot of struggling going out throughout the world. I already been doing what I was doing on Facebook, and then they came and hit me up again and said, "Dad, seriously, you need to go on TikTok. We really think that you can make a difference in the world, especially with people, you know, going through what they're going through." And I'm like, "All right, set it up. Let's make it happen." So then I just got on there and started singing. The first song I did had over 200,000 views. The second song I did almost 1 million views. Went from 0 to 40,000 followers in a matter of a week.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's unheard of. I've never met anyone do that. That's wow.
So I have no idea that that's a good thing, right?
Yeah.
You just reacted in a way
Yeah.
where that's amazing.
That's unheard of.
And my boys are sitting there going, "Dad, keep singing."
Yeah.
And I kept singing. And before you knew it, we were over 100,000 within a month. And it just kept growing. And then, and at this time, I don't know that there's money to be made there. I'm not even thinking about that.
You're just having fun.
All I'm thinking about is have fun. And if I sing something that makes people happy, I'll know by how many views it gets. Does that make sense? And
Yeah.
so I started figuring out, okay, I'll sing this song, see what happens. And songs started hitting a million almost every few weeks, a new song would hit 1 million. Every song did well over 40, 50,000 views. And so I was like, I know I can sing, but I'm not like some major vocal guy. Does that make sense? I just like to have fun. And so I'll get on there and I'll sing, I'll tell some stories, I'll share some love with the people all over the world. You know, and whenever I talk, I always talk about the whole world because I want people to know, you know, whether you hear me or not, at some point you'll feel me.
Yeah, I love that.
So,
Such a great like you're right though. Music is so powerful. I think probably the biggest thing that actually would heal my soul when I lost my wife in 2020 to breast cancer, and you know Jocko Willink. Do you know who he is? He's an ex-military man. Like he you know he's one of those Navy SEALs and all that jazz, and he's a hard, tough man, big man, but he's got a big heart too. And he talks about loss. And someone he got his interview and they soundbited it all up, and they made a song out of it, and it goes for like 9 minutes. I'll send it to you after this.
Please.
But man, I would listen to that over and over and over again because it would explain going through the grief and the rigmarole of that and how hard it was. And it really was quite, I mean, you know, it took me 3 years, man. I've been so depressed, you know, going through that. But that song would bring me comfort, and he hits it right spot on, you know. Such a beautiful thing. So music, right?
Right. So when did you start? When did you start feeling like, you know, I can use this as a platform to serve?
Oh, yeah, I don't know. Like I always knew that. I mean, I've tried to be an actor. Tried. I mean, I really did. I was in LA. I was auditioning near every day, trying to hold down work all by myself. You know what I mean? Like me and my wife were out there, and I've always wanted to inspire people, and I
Right.
love talking with people. What I couldn't understand at the time there, I was nowhere near ready for what I want to do. Like finding this now and understand, like yeah, you always look back at life and you're like, oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I'm here now. I couldn't. It was such a tricky scenario, and coming into this, I mean, even the first I was doing some work around this town, just little odd jobs here, helping people doing stuff, and I had 3 runs of people not doing right by me, you know what I mean? And they owed me money, or they duped me with money, or they duped me with whatever they were going to
Right.
say they were going to do, and they never did. And I did a lot for them. And something inside of me, I think my little Jiminy Cricket, and it's been there for a long time. Every now and then, it's such a tiny voice at this stage, and just said, you know what? You're not doing the right thing right now, man. This is not meant for you. And I couldn't understand it at the time. I really couldn't. But then coming into it, my kids, I was dropping them off here. I was starting to get them into like the camps and things, and they did a basketball camp with Tracy and the girls, and it was really cool. So I started becoming aware of this school,
Right.
and just something I had just such a good feeling about walking on this campus. It was like a breath of fresh air, you know. And I just feel myself like there's something about that. I'm meant to do something here, you know. And I at the time I figured, man, it would be really cool if I could do editing and make some videos and stuff like that, and maybe get my sense of humor out there, you know.
Right.
But I had no idea. I'm not really great at editing, or at the time I didn't even know how to or film anything. You know, I worked in the film industry for quite a long time, for quite a few years. Didn't translate, but coming here, it started setting up. I took a voice. So what it wasn't a voice class. It was a sound editing class, and that's what I signed up for, and that's what I thought it was. And I probably I was still fairly depressed too, so I didn't really get. I sort of backwards walked into this thing. And the first day I show up in class and I'm sitting in the front row, and this awesome DJ who runs this station now, Ryan Sinacart, he's there teaching, and the first thing he says, okay, all of you guys in this class, you're all going to do an hour a week on the radio. And I'm like, no way. I'm not doing this, man. There's no way I'm doing this, you know, like, that's what's going in my head. And he starts talking about it, and then as he's talking about it, it's starting to make sense. And then he's like, because what you'll do, you'll take that away and you're going to create things and do this, and it's going to teach you how to sound edit, and you're going to learn it on the fly.
Right.
And I thought, wow, that's really cool. And I'm asking all these questions, and we only had 45 minutes with him. But by the end of the 45 minutes, someone said, and I already asked a bunch of questions. I don't care. I'll ask questions all day long. You know what I mean? I'll be the one that's asked the dumb question. I don't care. And as that happened, someone's like, well, how long do we have to speak for? Because you could tell the nervousness, the nerves in the room were crazy. And he's like, oh, nothing more than 30 seconds, if you know, maybe 15 seconds, just
Right.
in between takes. And then he turns and he looks at me, he says, we'll talk, because I've got a feeling you're going to want to talk some more.
Right.
And I just thought, wow, that blew my mind. You know, because I have a lot of things to talk about,
Right.
you know what I mean? And I could feel it at the time. And I kind of almost feel like it's a dam built up and ready to go, you know? So that day was extremely precious to me, and it has just been a grind since then. And that was 2 years ago now, right?
Right.
Going into the school year 2 years ago. And I mean, I still get nervous about doing all this, but I think it's a great outlet, and I think people need to hear it, you know?
You know, what's crazy is that, you know, whenever I get ready to go live, I've been doing it now for almost 5 years, and I'm still nervous.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? And
same.
I don't have any spectacular equipment. It's my computer and my phone, and
Yeah,
I just get on there and I do my thing. And but I used to DJ here at Thunder 91
yeah, you're saying that.
back in the day. I came here and that was like in 1990, right? And I had this little handle, what's up, all you Thunderbirds out there? This is the Aussie J coming to you live from Thunderbird Station.
I love it.
And I would do stuff like that. And I was just messing around.
Yeah,
There was the girl that ran the station, her name was Cece Williams, but she was awesome. She told us, hey, do your thing and have fun.
yeah,
Just be appropriate when you're on and stuff like that. And
yeah,
I came on and I did a lot of R&B, slow jams, stuff like that, and some reggae, of course, some reggae.
yeah.
But going back to the things that I've learned, everything that has blessed me in my life always goes back to music. I had worked in mental health for well over 30 years, and in that time, there wasn't a kid that didn't work with me that I didn't help to understand. You need music in your life. And they're like, well, I like this kind of music. I go, no, it's not about what you like,
Hmm.
right? Because what you like makes you feel only a certain way. And I need you to open up and be able to feel all different kinds of
Oh, I
music,
love that. I
right?
love that.
And so I had kids that used to say to me, was like, well, this is way different. I don't know if I like this kind of music. There's a lot of music I don't like, right?
Hmm.
But when I listen to it, it has its own story, and I have to identify what that story is, right? When I'm listening to it, I have people request music for me to sing when I'm on my show that I would never sing. Somebody asked me to sing Ozzy Osbourne. I would never sing any Ozzy, but I found a song that I could sing, and I sang it my way, right?
Perfect.
And it was a song called "Mama, I'm Coming Home,"
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And I listened to it and I was like, I think I could do that. So then I did it my own way. It right now it's on the way to 100,000 views right now, and so we'll see where it goes from there. But what I'm learning is that you can't push away an opportunity to learn something new, right? Because it'll open new doors wherever you turn.
Yeah, like that exact. When this started for me, I literally, man, I once it started working and things, I started seeing that there's light in this tunnel. Man, I got on my knees and I prayed and I said, my heart is yours. Let's let it out for the world. I hope I can help people and show me the path, show me the way, and I won't say no to anything. So I've been doing basically the same thing.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. It's not this is not easy. I mean, I'm death by fire trying to learn all this. You know what I mean? And it's not. But I think it's really rewarding and watching my sons. I remember as I started getting really good at it, or starting to go with it. They're like, oh wow, Dad, this is so cool. It's so fun to see you do that. They've seen me. I bet once I tell my story to anyone here in this school, one of the first things they say, would you ever tell people about that? I'm like, yeah. I'll put my story out there. So at the banquets I talk, or if there's a small group of people, I go inspire them as much as I can. And I just think it heals your heart, you know what I mean? And just getting it out, it's, I try not to flog it like as if it's my crutch, but now it's my power is look, I know what it's like to go through absolute mayhem, and there's light at the end of that tunnel.
Right.
That's
See, we are on the same page
hmm,
because that's all I'm trying to help people understand. There's always light,
I love that.
right? Whether it's a tunnel or not, you can look for a tunnel,
Right.
right? Or you just look for the light. And
Yeah.
remember, in a dark place, anything that changes what that dark place looks like is a light,
Yeah.
right? And so I'm always trying to help people understand. We go through stuff in our lives every day. And when that crap comes into our lives, it's really easy to stay in it. Right?
Yeah.
It's really easy to stay focused on the junk that happens in our lives. Or you can pull yourself up and say, you know something? I've been here too long. I need to figure out something different. Yeah, I'll share this real quick.
Please.
So the last few days I've been under the weather, right? And earlier today, I get a text from my son. And he says, hey, Dad, don't forget you got an appointment at 6 o'clock with my buddy. And I text him back, no worries. Now that's early in the day.
Yeah.
And as the day's going, I'm still not feeling all that good. And then all of a sudden, you know, I'm like, well, you could stay here all day and just, you know, be sick. You roll out of bed, catch a shower, you know, think about some things that will help you take care of the things you usually do. There's not a day that goes that I don't read or I don't listen to audios. And today I was just kicking back. I didn't feel like reading, didn't feel like listening to audios. And then I sat there and then I started listening to an audio, and it talked about some really important things. It helped me to understand, number one, I better have some purpose, right? Number two, I better have, you know, check my character. Number three, make sure my attitude's in check. And number four, never stop having my vision, you know, expand. And so as I started thinking about that, I was like, man, I can't wait to go and be a part of this show. I felt my spirits lift, felt my attitude change, right? And so I got ready and I was like, all right, let's go do it. Well, as I'm sitting here right now, I don't feel sick. Right? I don't feel like I've been sick at all. And it's because I think we do what it is we think we're supposed to do when we're a certain thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So when we tell ourselves we're sick, then we just are sick.
Okay. Yeah, all the
Right?
cells in the body say,
It's like,
okay.
okay, well, okay, we agree.
Yeah,
Right?
that's why I think prayer works. Because when we say a
Yes.
prayer, our whole body, every atom in our body's listening. What's he going to say
Yeah.
next? You know what I mean?
And you know something? Meeting you, as you're talking about prayer, is actually a blessing, right? And Drake has mentioned you a few different times.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, maybe we should connect with him, Drake.
Hmm.
And he's like, well, we'll see, Dad. Right?
Yeah.
And I just leave him because you're his friend.
Yeah.
And so this right here is not something that's by coincidence, right? This is something that's supposed to happen.
I believe so.
Right?
I do.
And the reason why I say that is because the opportunities happen when you're paying attention, right? You ask for certain things. Don't ask unless you're looking for it, right? And I've learned whatever it is I want, I'll ask for it.
Yeah.
Right? And when it appears, then I know. And I'm grateful all the time. I'm always grateful. I'm always like, you know, Father in heaven, this is what I need. This is what I'm looking for. This is what it is that I need to help people throughout the world. You have people that need my help. And so I'm asking you, help me so I could do that, right?
Man, I appreciate that. I want to touch on that. What you said, like I had a conversation with a guy today. You know, there's this guy. He just started this job. Anyway, he called out sick on the second day, and it's just like, oh man, what's he doing? You know, and he's a good dude. He's a really good guy. He's got a heart in the right place. So he helps a lot of people, but he's getting taken advantage of a little bit, you know. And I said, well, how'd that job go for you? You know, I see him there the next day, and oh man, that didn't work out, and it's just not working right, and you know, he was all really bummed out about it. And I said, oh, okay, and I walked away, and I thought, I don't want to get involved in that. You know, maybe it's not the right thing or whatever the case is. You know. Anyway, I go to my vehicle and I'm about to drive off, and I feel like, hey, you got to go talk to him. He needs to hear this. I'm like, all right. So I go up to him and I'm like, hey man, you call God, universe, whatever you want to call it, right? But you're doing something right now and it's honorable, but you're having a hard time with it. You're coming into roadblocks and it's frustrating and it's hard, and that's what happened to me before I came to this school.
Right.
You know what I mean? Everything was hard. And I mean, I lost a lot of money. Like I really did. It was one person ripped me off a couple of grand. You know what I mean? And a couple of grand in my world. For the last 5 years, I've been living off $1,300 a month with 2 little boys. You know what I mean? I live in an RV. You know what I mean? There's not much else I can say about that. You know, that's not easy living, guys. It's really hard. You know, but I made it work. I would cook, and it forced me to be in a predicament of making dinners and all this sort of stuff. But what I said to him is that, you know, these are roadblocks, and you and I met for a reason, and I freed his life up a little bit. And he still can't see the forest through the trees, you know what I mean? And so many people are taxing from him left, right, and center. I was like, dude, what you need to do, go home, count your blessings, right? And then have a look and count all the red flags that are in your world. Everything that's hard to do, red flag, right? Someone doesn't want to be with you, red flag. Someone doesn't want, you know, someone doesn't like you, another red flag.
Right.
But they're not your people, move on. And it's so hard to break away. Sometimes you got to let it go to thrive. And he also made a comment of, oh, what if I walked away from here? I'd lose $100,000. What if you walked away and you landed in a place that helped you grow, and 2 years later you got $400,000?
Right.
You know what I mean? You don't know. It's like you starting your channel. You started 1 week, boom. How many subscribers in 1 week? That was
40.
crazy. 40,000 subscribers. I dream of that number. You know, and not because I'm here for the money. I'm going to do this no matter what, guys. I don't care.
Right.
Pay me, don't pay me. I'm here. I'm going to get as many stories out as I can and try and get you guys to understand what we do. You know what I mean? And how we go through bad things and how we get through it and how we see the light. You know, I want to do this no matter what. I just want my message to get out there for people. You know, and
that's a scary thing for a lot of people, Rob. You know what it is that you're working on, because there's a lot of vulnerability that's a part of you sharing your story. Does that make sense? And
yeah.
So I was talking to a good friend of mine yesterday, and she said to me, she goes, "How is it that you're able to handle vulnerability so well?" Right? And I just said, I don't know. I'm not afraid to cry if I need to.
Yeah.
I'm not afraid to feel and let my feelings run. You know, I said when I'm on my TikTok, there's people always going, why is he crying? Why is he crying? Right? And then I'll see that in the comments and I'll say, I'll tell you why I'm crying. I'm crying because I'm happy about something, right? You'll know if I'm sad because I probably won't be on, right? I don't want to share sadness with you. I want to share happiness. There's plenty of sadness in the world, right? I said, but it's very seldom where I find myself in a sad situation. I can find something good about anything is when that's what it is that we're looking for, right? I want good things in my life. I want to attract goodness. I want people to feel when I walk into a room, now that dude, I want to go meet that guy, right?
Yeah.
And I'll tell you something, Rob. It's happened in my life numerous times. I'll walk into a room and people will come up to me and say, "Hey, what's your name?" "Hi, I'm Oscar." And they're like, "Man, you look huggable." I go, "That's because I hug everybody."
Yeah.
Right? And I'll give them a hug and they'll go on. And before you know it, there's people coming up introducing themselves. It happens everywhere I go. You know, my wife, my poor wife, she looks at me and I go, "Are you okay with all these people?" She's like, "Nothing's changed since college. Just be who you are."
I love
Right?
that.
And I've been blessed that way. And so as we're sitting here and we're talking, the thing that I love is you and I get to be genuine with each other. You're sharing about your story, I'm sharing about mine. Things that I've gone through in my life. I mean, I went to this school and this school was a huge blessing for me. I'll share this with you. I was coming through here to go to Arizona State to play football. Never made it to Arizona State. I stopped here, had lunch at Arby's, and this gentleman comes up and he says, "Hey, let me get that bill for you." And I said, "Do I know you?" He says, "No, you don't." I said, "Okay, but will you join me at my table?" And I'm like, "Sure." So my girlfriend at that time, right? That's my wife. She's my girlfriend at the time. And she goes, "Do you know this guy?" I go, "No. I'm just grateful he caught our lunch. You know, we're starving students." We go over, we sit down at his table, and there's 6 other men that are at the table with him. And they all stood up as we walk over and shake my hand, and they're all like, "Hi, we're the coaching staff at Southern Utah University. I'm head coach Jack Bishop." And I'm like, "Good to meet you, coach." I said, "I'm pretty sure I received a bunch of letters from you, and I never returned anything, did I?" And he goes, "Never got anything from you, Oscar." And I said, "Well, I apologize about that, coach." And he goes, no need to. Happens all the time. We're a little school. I'm sure you're set on something bigger than Southern Utah. He says, "However, would it be okay since you're here and if we go ahead and keep you for a couple days and let you be one of, we can do a recruiting trip with you right now?" I said, "Absolutely." Right? Got us 2 hotel rooms because I'm a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. My girlfriend stayed in one, I stayed in the other, and we had dinner and went to a movie. They had us go visit a bunch of different things. I mean, got to see this little town, and there was only, I want to say there was a total of like 2,200 students on this campus at that time.
Yeah, I believe
That's
it.
how small this school was. This school's nothing the same as what it was back then,
Yeah.
right? Now, I came from a school that had over 8,500 students, and it was a 2-year college, right? And
Where
so,
was that at?
up in Idaho.
Okay.
It's Rexburg, Idaho. It's called Rick's College.
Yeah.
So that college felt like, literally big time football, stuff like that. And then I come here. I never wanted to come here. But the man upstairs has plans for certain things, right? So before the weekend was over, my dad and I are talking on the phone, and he goes, "Where are you? Aren't you supposed to be in Arizona already?" And I'm like, "I'm heading that way, Dad." He goes, "Where are you?" I said, "I'm in southern Utah at a little college called Southern Utah State College." And he goes, "What are you doing there?" I go, "Well, they paid for my meal and, for a place to stay for a couple nights. They're showing me around this campus and all those things." And he goes, "Don't sign anything." That's what he said to me. He goes, "Sign nothing." Well, by the time we were done, my spirit just kept feeling like this is where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah.
I have no idea why I'm supposed to be here. My only goal was to ever play pro football, right? And this place literally becomes my home.
Yeah, and
I
you've been
mean,
here since, right?
I've been here since 1989,
Wow.
right? I married my wife in 1990. Our first little home was $38,000, which we thought was a ton of money back then, right? And now you look at things right now with inflation, you ain't gonna find a vehicle for 38,000.
Yeah, it's sad, isn't it?
And so it's just a really sad situation. So, but I will tell you, in my life and working in mental health, it's been a blessing, and I've learned a lot of things. But what I learned the most is this: the more I talk with the man upstairs, the more things that he helps me to understand. My vision becomes more clear on what my journey needs to look like. Um, my character and my attitude needs to always be in place and be genuine, right? About how I do things in my life. My purpose is to reach the world, to be able to teach the world things that, I never would have thought. People that know me on this campus just know me as a big guy with a big heart. He's kind and he's loving, right? When I went to school here, I went through a lot while I was here on this campus. I love this place.
Yeah.
But the president, Mindy Benson, is a huge blessing in my life. And I've known her since I've been here, right? So there's just so much to share with you, Rob, about my life and this place. I came here, stopped to get something to eat, and never left here.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, Mindy Benson's awesome. She's actually going to do this podcast soon. So she says, we've got to get her in here.
Oh, you'll get her.
Yeah.
You'll get her.
And she said, I don't worry about time limit, because I don't like time limits. I just want to hear, I want to learn that person.
Right.
You know what I mean? I think it's a great thing. So yeah, I appreciate her. She has checked in with me from time to time too with what we're doing, let's take it back a little bit and get back to the format of what I do, right?
Okay.
Where were you born, and were you both parents in the house? Like, how was that?
So I'm really blessed that way. My parents, my dad came with the first group of Tongans that came from the South Pacific to the United States. That was back in 1959, 1958, right? And he came to the United States, worked for a few years, and went back to the island, married my mom. And my dad was just an amazing guy. What he wanted, he would make happen. He said, I had a bunch of friends, even my own brothers, that tried to get their wives here without staying in Fiji or staying in Samoa, for a couple of years before they can come into the United States. He goes, I came into the United States, I worked, I put away money, and then I end up going back. I married your mom, and she came back with me to the United States right after we got married. He goes, there was no delays. I made things work. I made it happen.
Yeah.
And I said, okay. So I'm born in 65, right? And my mom says, we weren't sure what we wanted to name you, but my siblings, I have a brother named Salesi Misnale. I have a sister named Ulu Kilupatea. I have another sister named Liume Tupo. And then there's me, Oscar. So when you think about that, how come I didn't get a Tongan name?
Yeah.
Right? Well, I asked my mom, and she says, well, my nurse, she was from like Tahiti or somewhere like that. There weren't a lot of the South Pacific people here in the States during that time. And she says, and my nurse was so kind to me that I told her, please name this boy, right? I'm honored to have you taking care of me because my mom's not here. You're such a blessing in my life. So she names me Oscar. Well, come to find, there are two gentlemen in my family with the name Oscar, right? My mom has a gentleman, and his name is Oscar. He's an entertainer. He was an entertainer in all the South Pacific. And then on my dad's side, he had an uncle named Oscar, and he was an entertainer all over the South Pacific. And so here I come, right? I don't have any skills playing any instruments, but I do have skills in speaking. I do have skills in singing a little bit, right? And so those blessings came through my name, right? I really think that your name has a lot to do with who you end up becoming.
That's
right?
interesting. Yeah.
And I never thought that. But then as I've watched my children, each of them are named after somebody in my family, and each of them are a lot like that person that they are named after.
I love that.
Yeah. And so my daughter just had a baby, right? And she says, you know, we're trying to think of a name. She came up with a few names, and I says, I want you to do this. Now, I don't know all those names that you're throwing at me, but I want you to do me a favor. And she says, what's that? I go, my experiences on names is that the name that you name your child, that child will find some way to be a lot like that name, whoever they're named after. And she goes, you really think so, Dad? And I go, yeah, so really pay attention to that. And it took her a while. It took her like 2 weeks to come up with a name for her son because she was so lost in my thoughts. Right? So anyway, going back to your platform, my mom and dad were really amazing people. My dad came, he was educated. He actually went to Rick's College for 1 semester, ran out of money, ends up in San Francisco, and ends up working there in the cafeteria in the San Francisco International Airport. And then at that time, he says, all of a sudden, American Airlines comes in, and they're looking for workers. And a gentleman comes up to me while I'm working in the cafeteria, loved the way that I was working, and he says, I'd like to offer you a job. Offered my dad a job at American Airlines, just cleaning airplanes and things like that. Before you know it, my dad's with American for over 38 years. He becomes one of their main guys on the ground, right? Making sure luggage was loaded, making sure everything went to where it needed to go, taking care of airplanes, all those things. He had tons of crews that were working down, guiding in airplanes, all those things. He went from not understanding anything as far as airplanes or how things run at the airport to he understood everything.
Yeah.
Right?
Learning on the job.
Learned on the
It's
job.
the best way to do it.
Doing, brother.
Yeah.
Just like we're doing.
It's the best way to learn.
So
yeah.
So there's some of the story.
Yeah. So you're born. So what, you born in?
I was born in San Francisco.
Okay.
In the Bay Area.
Okay.
In a town called San Mateo, California.
Been there.
And I lived there all through my teenage years. Left on a mission for the church, right? Came home, stayed home for about 6 months, and then left, and never went back to live there.
Wow.
So
where'd you go on your mission?
I went to Tonga.
That's awesome.
I served a mission in Tonga.
Nice.
My dad, here's a funny thing, is that I'd been dating this beautiful lady, young lady. We were just kids, right? And she, you know, you're a high school kid. You think you're in love and all those things, you know. And my dad's like, what's your plans for your mission? I'm like, don't have any. And he looks at me and he goes, what do you mean you don't have any? And I go, yeah, I'm not going on a mission, Dad. I'm just going to stay back and I'm going to work. And he goes, oh, okay. And he leaves. And then a day or two later, comes by and he says, hey, get in. And I get in the car and I'm thinking we're just going to go do some work or something like that. And he takes me to see my church leader, right, my bishop. And he says, go meet with Bishop. And I go in there and meet with Bishop, and he says, so your dad says you want to go on a mission.
Throws you under the bus. He knew what he was doing.
I sat quietly out of respect, didn't say anything, and I said, I wasn't really thinking about it, Bishop, but he goes, every young man needs a way to get away from home and go grow up.
Mm-hmm.
And a mission would do that for you, right? And I said, I have a girlfriend, and I think I just want to get married. He goes, oh, there's plenty of time for that. That's exactly what he said to me. He goes, oh, there's plenty of that time for that. And he says, this is what we're going to do. We're going to get you started, right? And get you started on your papers, and we're going to get to working on this, and get you to a point where you're worthy and all this stuff. And I said, all right. And probably like a month and a half, 2 months later, I'm getting ready to leave, right? I'm in love with this girl. My dad is like pouring all this stuff into me, and I knew I could never say no to the guy. I could never say no to my dad, and so I'm just like, man, where do I go from here? So I left. I actually leave, and I'm grateful that I'm leaving, but at the same time, I'm angry at my dad because I had told him I didn't want to go. I leave. I go on my mission. I come back. She's married, right? And so I'm like, all right. It's just God saying to me, I got other plans for you. You got to go do what you got to do. And so I had nothing to go to school for. I wasn't planning on going to school.
Go get the stuff. Bring it to me. Go bring me the stuff. Go bring me the stuff. Yeah? Okay.
I had no plans to go to school or anything like that. And then he says, what are you going to do now? I says, I don't know. Probably like a few days later, after my dad asked me that question, I get a call from Rick's College, and they offered me a full ride scholarship for wrestling.
Oh.
Because I wrestled in high school. I said, all right, took the wrestling scholarship, I leave. And so as I leave and go off and do the whole wrestling bit, I wrestled there for my first year. And I loved wrestling when I was in high school, but this is a whole different thing being in college, right? It literally becomes a job. And so all of a sudden the football coaches came and says, hey, we'd like to offer you a full ride for football. And they said, you don't have to leave wrestling unless you want to. And I said, oh no, I'm good. I'll leave wrestling. So I left wrestling, went to football, started playing football.
Wow.
So there's a lot there. Huh?
Such a blessed path,
Yeah.
like you did the right things, and it just shows, and it's like you can see God's hand in you giving up that, I don't really want to go, and you had this beautiful woman, and you had your own ideas, but yeah, maybe, clearly you weren't ready, right?
No, I wasn't.
Yeah.
You think you are.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I know I was angry at my dad because I didn't want to go. I went out of being obedient, right? But that obedience paid off.
Oh, absolutely, 100%.
Yeah, it helped me to understand, number one, your dad, my dad and I, during that time, we had a little discussion, right? I was upset at him. He and I were having this pretty loud discussion. He goes, son, you just shut your mouth for a minute. And I did. And he looks at me and he goes, answer this question for me. I said, okay. And he goes, how old are you? I said, I'm almost 18. He goes, how old do you think I am? I said, I think you're 50, Dad. He goes, I'm 52 years old. He goes, you know what that means? And I go, that you're older than me? He goes, no. It means you only know 17 and a half things. I know 52.
Yeah.
So is there a chance I might be able to help you?
Love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
So simple, right?
Yeah.
It's so simple. And I use that same thing with my kids, right? And my kids all understand it when I share things like that with them.
Yeah.
They're always like, Dad, that makes so much sense. And I go, that's because your grandpa was loaded with wisdom, right? And I had to grow into understanding that I probably have that same thing in me, but I won't see it until I get older.
Yep.
Right? Because I was too busy being a little punk, thinking I knew something, So anyway, there's so much to share with you, Rob. as we're sitting here, we're just talking. There's all kinds of memories going through my thoughts.
Perfect. I have a question for you. What I gotta my kids are here, guys. They just played out, so I'm gonna go and see them. But what's your first memory, or what is a memory you would like to share? Because I would like to. What's up, guys? Yeah, take that with you, guys. You're being picked up soon, okay? Thank you. Yeah, and I get it. I get it. I feel that. I absolutely love that message that you just told. Then it's yeah. I got some things to add to that. So
Well, you know, the memory that I remember the most is that my dad was an absolute amazing man, but without my mom, right? There was a he man. My mom, in our lives, we came from a family where we had. My dad worked at the airport, and so every time he would come out ready to come home, there were other islanders that were just sleeping out in the airport, nowhere to go.
yeah,
Right? Back in those days, islanders are flying in day and night and having no idea what they're going to do. And my dad would run into these people, and before you know it, our home was wall to wall people. I mean, we literally, us four kids grew up in my mom and dad's room with my parents, and yet we
wow,
had a 4 bedroom home with a garage, right? And it was just crazy because, you know, my dad says, you know, we have to help these people to find their beginning, right? And so here it was where all these people were visiting or coming in from the islands trying to figure out their lives and figure out what it is that they're doing. And my dad would go out of his way to help all these people. There were mattresses all along the garage, in the basement. There's a bedroom in there. We didn't have a dryer because I remember my mom always hanging laundry. My dad provided work for all these different people, and
yeah.
sometimes those people
Bring it.
eventually found that they had family, and their families would come and they would take them, you know. But when we ate, when we had food in our homes, I literally watched my mom daily. She would cook 7 to 10 chickens a day. She would, I mean, yams and, you
Wow.
know, things like that were being cooked. Um, there, I mean, I'm not joking when I'm telling you there would be like pork. There was always like 3 or 4 different meats to choose from, and that's what she did all day long. 2 things: she did laundry all day long. She's washing all these people's laundry. She's washing their bedding. She didn't have to do that,
Mm.
right? But that's what she did every day. They would come home to clean beds. They would come home to clean laundry that she would take care of for all of these people. And so, and all most of them were all men just trying to find their way, right, in the United States.
Yeah.
So when you ask me what is a memory of, you know, my upbringing, it's all about sharing and, you know,
Yeah.
taking care of people.
Man, Polynesian food is amazing too. You know, like you guys call them hungies, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been to many. Like I grew up in a place called Penrith, and yeah, bring it in, bring it in. Penrith was we all played football, right? And there was so many Tongans around us and Samoans. Thank you, thank you. Pass me that. Pass me. Cool. Thank you. All right, I'll catch you later, huh? Sorry, my boy's here. He's dropping us off some stuff. Um, the food is amazing, and it's when you go to it's almost like sacred ground when you have a hungy. You know, it's there's no arguments, there's no fighting. It's just love.
Right.
And I couldn't understand it because I would play football with these guys, and man, I'm sorry, but Polynesians are the toughest guys I've ever met. You know what I mean? Like you play football, it's football, like rugby league in Australia.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
They're gonna wreck you.
And we'd play, and it'd be yeah, you were out for blood. But then they would invite you over, and I thought I thought we weren't good, yeah. And but you go there, and it's just a different feeling. It's such a beautiful experience. I just imagine like your mum creating, you know, she cleaned the bed, you know, to bring health in her
Yes.
home, you know, and by keeping clean and having the food, no one's hungry, no one's starving. It's an amazing thing, right?
Yeah. I don't know how we did it. I mean, there was 1 bathroom,
Yeah.
2 bathrooms, one in my parents' room, and then one bathroom for the rest of the people to use. It's just crazy, you know. I mean, when I look back at it, I mean, I remember everybody. Our kitchen was just a small little room, just like this, and there would be like tons of people in there. My mom would come and she would make food for all of us kids, and we would go outside and sit on the porch and eat there. And some of the men would come and they would do the same thing and come and sit by us and eat. And some people were able to sit there in the kitchen and eat, you know, and spend time and talk. So much laughter, so much, you know, storytelling and things like that. I'll never forget it. I even got to see grown men go through times of anger and, you know, fight one another right there in our home, right? They're just like battling. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, and you know, of course you learn all kinds of things, and you're like, whoa. How, go ahead.
But that's in your nature. Like
Yes.
like you guys are warriors.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm from Australia, but my bloodline's Swedish. You know what I mean? So I get it too. I understand it. You know what I mean? And when we play football and have outlets like that, you can go head to head. You know what I mean? I earned Tongans respect, a lot of Tongans respect just for playing football with them. They would say for a little guy, I would hit hard. You know what I mean? But that's what you do.
That's right.
But it would bring you closer. You know what I mean? And sometimes, you know, we're men. Sometimes we don't think too well.
Nope.
But you go through that. You know what I mean? It's a tricky scenario. Hey, I got some water here for you if you want to drink a little bit of water.
You're good, man.
But do you like meat at all?
I love meat.
I barely just started this Paleo Valley, right? I love meat sticks, but most meat sticks that I do, they're not great.
Uh-huh.
And if you want to try it, it's up to you. But this here, man, I eat it. I don't feel sore in the belly or anything afterwards.
So it's like a jerky of some kind?
It's like a meat stick, yeah. Paleo Valley said that I've been talking with them, and my first delivery actually got messed up, and I never got it. And that day, I like that morning, I was really bummed out because I've been waiting on these things. I want to take them to the vacation that we're going on with me and the boys. And I emailed them straight away. Hey, my delivery didn't show up, you know, and I felt the presence just, you know, I was cool about it. I'm really hoping that I can get them soon because I want to take them on a vacation with us, you know, because we're going to do the Universal Studios with my boys,
Right.
you know, and man, straight away, the email got sent back to me but before I even had time to turn my phone off. And she's like, oh, I'm so sorry about that. And I said, well, where do they go? And she's like, she sends me a photo. I said, that's a great photo, but it's not my place. And within 5 minutes, she already had an order on their way back to me. And this happened like only days ago.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But anyway, I've been eating these Paleo Valley beef sticks, they call them. They're 100% grass-fed beef. You know, this is no plug at all. This is just something that, you know, we eat all these garbage snacks.
Yeah.
And this stuff here, like you split the top here, and you rip into it. But just the flavor of it and the way how it goes down.
I can smell it. It smells good.
And an hour later, man, you feel good. Like I've eaten, and I usually fast in the daytime. I won't eat in the mornings. I'll fast. Today I didn't eat till like 5:10 this afternoon, before we came into the studio here. And I tell you, man, they smell amazing, and they're easy going down, and they're not bad at all. So I'm just going to put it out there. If anyone's wanting something good, they got a big special on right now too. They're doing like, I don't know, it's like for 30 sticks, it costs you $36 or something like that. Absolutely amazing. And I'd suggest anyone, if you're curious about getting healthy, try that. You know, I was amazed on how good they treated me in that predicament.
Right.
Yeah.
In the exchange, it turned out really awesome.
Man, it come out really good. And I actually think that even my boys, you know, it's what you put in your body is so sacred, man. You got to be careful. You know, there's so much garbage in this world. You know, what's the rule of thumb in a shopping center? You do all the outskirts and miss the middle, because the middle is full of garbage.
Yeah.
You know, if you go into like even Walmart right now, if you go in there, read their boxes, you'll see bioengineered food, bioengineered, right, made in a lab, and we're eating it.
Right.
Doesn't make any sense to me, man.
It's funny that you say that, because anything that you're really looking for is on the outskirts anyway.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
And they always take anything that you need
Hmm.
and put it on the opposite ends, so that way you're trying to cover the whole store.
They're trying to drag you all the way through it,
That's
like to
exactly
go
right.
get your milk or whatever. Yeah, yeah. No, it's funny like that. And since I've not made any money through the last 5 years, I've had to get real creative. Like I get food stamps, right? And it's like $635 for me and the boys for 1 month.
Right.
And I take all of that money and I go to Costco and I buy everything that I can make at home and I get creative. As soon as I get home, I cut up all the meat and I put it in the freezer. You know what I mean? And I have my days all marked out and I had to get really good with planning and it ain't easy. And especially coming from like I was corporate America, flying over the country, visiting people and schmoozing because I love to talk with people,
Right.
and that's what I would do. I worked for Tesla and I did that for a furniture company. I done many things like that, only to come out of it. As soon as my wife passed away, man, I think the first few breakfasts, I start at 7 o'clock in the morning, and I'm in a kerfuffle. But going through that, I wouldn't be finished breakfast till 11 o'clock, and my boys would be like, "Dad, we're hungry." It's like, well, here's breakfast. I had no idea what I was doing, man. Plus, I'm sure the depression didn't help me too,
Right.
But to come out of that now, like I can knock a meal up so quick, and the meal's healthy and it's good and it's wrapped up in all goodness. You know what I mean? But it's just the way how I live, and it's forced me to live and eat clean.
Right.
And the more I learn, the more I'm cutting things out. Like breakfast cereals, one of the worst things you could ever eat. They're great.
It's just all sugar. Right?
It's not even sugar. The sugar part, sure. It's all the other ingredients that we can't pronounce.
Right.
Why is that in our food? Even like Canada has it's kind of like what is it RFK? He's trying to get
Oh, yeah,
into
yeah.
Right now, our red dye is one of the worst things in the world you could do. That and then how we bleach our flour is absolutely garbage. Like I cut breads out of my life and everything changed. Like that's no joke too.
Right.
I cut down. I only eat 1 or 2 meals a day. I'll have some nuts to snack, or I'll have clean chips. Stuff that's not made in oil, like seed oils.
Right.
Most seed oils that we're digesting actually comes from a reserve of machine oil.
Really?
That's how they make machine oil, right? But what they do, then they if they have too much of it, well then we've got to get rid of this. How do we sell it? Well, then they put it through another process that strips any nutrients that it did have because it's meant for machines. There's a process of doing it. I can't name all the names, how they do it, but they strip it and then they repack it and repackage it to you. Just like the flour, when you see anything that says enriched, right? That's them bleaching and taking all the nutrients out of it, and then they add all the garbage into it.
Right.
And that's part of the reason why we get so bloated and everything when we eat the breads. Like anyone that that's gone to Italy, they go to Italy and eat the biggest bowl of pasta, and an hour later they feel amazing.
Right.
Right? Because the pasta's genuinely,
real.
it's not been messed with, you know what I
Right.
mean? But we mess with everything here. That's the only reason why I wanted to bring that up. I think it's great. So,
Well, I appreciate that, man.
yeah, just
appreciate
sharing. And if you want some water, there's some water there. I just didn't want you to feel like you have to talk and you can't,
Oh,
you
no,
know?
I'm good. I'm good.
Man, for a first, oh, that's so beautiful. You touch on other things too, like going. It's been a blessing and a curse for me with the way how I communicate with people. I grew up in a very rough part of town, and I wasn't great. My parents they had massive gambling addictions, and that's been quite hard for me. But as I grew into it, and Annie was the first one, my late wife. She was the first one to even point it out. I didn't even know about it. But she says, "Do you notice you walk in a room and you light the place up, people notice you?" You know what I mean? I'm like, "Oh, I don't, I just love being a happy, jovial character."
Right.
And I love to influence people if I can. I've always been that way. I have a thing on my heart, know you do right. You know what I mean? Know you do right, because when you're doing wrong.
Right.
You know it. And if you don't hold yourself accountable, then that's questionable, right? So that's how I've sort of lived my life, and I love to inspire whenever I get the chance. And now this is it's taken off in a different direction for me, and I'm fully thankful for this.
I'll tell you, my friend, when we were meant to meet,
Yeah.
right? It's very clear to me. I meet people all the time, and there's people that I'm supposed to meet, and then there's people that I just meet, right? And so here we are. I'm meeting you. I believe there's some things that we'll do together, and we'll figure that out as we go,
Yeah.
right? And it's just, there's a lot of things that I don't understand technology wise. I can't even get my mind on it. It has to be as simple as me turning on, record on my phone, and I can do the work that I do, and it's just an interesting thing on how it works. But as I watch, and the man upstairs place people in front of me, it it's him answering prayers that allows me to understand, hey, this is not only to answer yours, it'll also answer theirs. And if you guys will, figure out together where you're headed, this will be something that'll benefit both parties,
Yeah.
right? And it's a win-win in all things, not just a one-sided thing. When I go on and I do my show, a lot of things has gifts and things like that, and people love to gift, and there's times where I'll set goals for gifts, and I'll just say, something, I'd never asked for a gift this big, but I want you to know something. Something I've learned is you can't get big things in your life unless you understand that if you want big things, you got to ask for big things,
Yeah.
right? And so this is me asking, you know, I know this gift is worth a lot. I'll never know if I'm worth that unless I put it out there. All of a sudden one day I asked for two big, huge gifts, and they came like right as I posted them, right? And I remember being on my TikTok, and I was in tears, and I'm like, let me share with you why I'm in tears. I really believe that all my life I've always played small,
Yeah.
right? I've always thought that it's not humble to come in here and try to play big and things like that. And what I did is I misconstrued what humble is, right? There are people on this earth that are doing big things every day, and they are the epitome of humble,
Yeah.
right? So humble has nothing to do with things that you're trying to figure out, how do I achieve? If you're going to achieve it, go achieve it at a big level, and then you be humble when the opportunity comes to be humble,
Yeah.
right? God blesses you with financial stability and above and beyond that. Why? Because obviously you're able to have a stewardship that allows you to serve. And if you're willing to do that, then I will give you that.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
No, it makes
So,
perfect sense. Yeah.
so that's one of the things that I've learned is that, he blesses my life all the time. He helps me every day. You know, I, I've had to learn so many things in my life. I'm 60, right? And so I've had to learn, dude, I'm just barely starting to understand big things,
You started,
right?
yeah, because you're seeing it, aren't you?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm,
and it's touching and influencing your life in such a big
yeah.
way.
And I didn't even, I thought that I was doing big things in my life. But what he's saying is, no, you haven't seen big things because you haven't allowed yourself to see it,
Yeah.
right? You're you're finding for yourself, wow, it's just me and my boys. I get a certain amount of money every month to make sure there's food on our table,
Yeah.
right? I live on a total of $1,300 a month.
Yeah.
And you know what? A lot of single people can't do that.
Yeah. Dude, and we're happy. We're so
Yeah.
happy. You know, and not only that, like, so Disneyland is a very sacred place for me and my wife. You know, she worked for Disney, and we would go all the time, and it was just such a bubble for us. You know, when we lived in LA, trying to do the LA thing, and I loved it. And then when she passes away, and one of her girlfriends that she worked with, she reaches out to me. She says, "Hey, you and your boys, as long as I'm working here, will never have to pay for a ticket. I will sign you in. Please bring those kids down here. They need to know what mum did." And there's artwork that my mum's done, that my wife's done down there, and every time we go, I show them. But we go there, you know what I mean? And I scrape together everything to do it, and it takes me 7 months to plan for it. But I book the hotel, and then when we get to go there, we don't buy much in the parks, but I'll take all the food I can.
Right.
I'll have cookers in the hotel room. I'll get up twice, I'm up at 6 o'clock making all the food just so we can do the drop of the rope and be there, and I'll have tortillas made and all sorts of things
Ready to go.
just to get us through. And I'll have enough money through the day to buy an ice cream each and one meal. You know what I mean? And we do, and we make do. And together, me and my boys are so tight. It's like I couldn't have asked for a bigger blessing.
Right.
And yeah, has it been hard? It's been extremely hard. Like one of the hardest things I've ever done.
Right.
I don't think coming through all that and learning these ways, just before all this happened too. When I was working at Tesla, and I worked with a few billionaire accounts, rich people that are doing big things, and as I would meet them and get to know them, man, they don't sweat much,
Right.
But underneath they are. They're just like us.
Yeah.
But they've just learned to roll with it. When I was in Australia, my family's pretty rough and tumble. You know what I mean? Like they're no nonsense people. They're pretty hard. Yeah. I don't want to say there's nothing bad about it. They just know what they know.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's what they know. And so it was hard. They'd call you out on all sorts of stuff. Coming out of that, I got to meet this one really rich guy. He had a jet and he raced cars. And for whatever reason, I was on his jet going down to Melbourne, and he just jump in the jet with us, come down, and off we go. And just before we're taking off, he gets a phone call on his cell, and he's there chatting before we go. And he tells the pilot, just hold up a sec, I've got to deal with this. And I'm sitting across from him, and I'm like, oh man, I feel like I need to walk away. And he's like, oh no, you're good, just stay there. And I'm listening to him talk, and I can hear the other guy talk. And this guy, he was a manager of one of his companies, and he had made a decision, and it cost the company like $200,000 or something like that, or $250,000, I think it was. Man, I'm listening to him, I'm like, whoa, that guy's in mad trouble.
Right.
Right? And that's the way how I'm thinking, because I know, man, I lose $20, my old man's going to give me a clip around the head, you know what I mean? but I'm thinking about this is nuts. And the conversation happens, and he's just cool, calm, and collect. And he says, okay, well, what did we learn? And they talk about it, and he's ever so calm. He gets off the phone, he's like, oh. I said, did I just hear that right? And he's like, yeah. And I said, was that $250,000? He said, yeah. And I said, man, and you didn't yell and scream at that guy? He says, listen, that guy's worked for me for over 20 years. I've just promoted him into that position. I knew he was going to make a mistake. I didn't think it was going to be this big, but he made that mistake,
Right.
and he learnt.
It won't happen again.
It would never happen again. And that guy loves him even more.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that's the first time I ever saw that in my life. I couldn't believe it, man. I just thought to myself, if there's a guy like that, I want to be like him.
That's right.
I'm still not there. I'm still not there. There's times where I'm yelling at my kids. I'm like, oh, and I'm like, okay, guys, and I say, give me a minute. I go away. I calm myself down. I bring them back to me. I say, let's talk about this. What I just said then, no one should ever say that to you. Right? Don't let anyone speak to you like that, especially me. Okay? So I'm sorry. Right? You guys did aggravate me, and that's not the standard, and we need to rise above together. Right. I'm forever doing those lessons. I've had those conversations more than once or twice, you know what I mean? And I hate the fact that, it's been there and I've done that, but I'm proud to admit it.
Right.
And I'm proud to let my boys know what the standard should be,
Well, I think that's what love is, right?
Yeah.
Right. That's what love is that, a parent shows the areas that he's trying to teach, but sometimes it doesn't always come out nice.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And the language sometimes isn't always that good, and just the frustration, or the kids see the anger, right? But I think the blessing in that is when we're able to apologize, and be able to say, hey, buddy, come here. What did we learn from this?
Yeah.
His daddy learned this. I learned that, I got to remember that you go through things, and you're just trying to figure out how to do this, and you're asking me questions. It's not your fault. So, I found that a lot with all four of my kids. My twins, those guys were crazy. They did a lot of things.
Well, they're egging each other on too, aren't they?
You know what? It's not only egging themselves on, but Drake can say, Drew, I'm gonna beat you, right? But if anybody else ever tried to say that to Drew, Drake is beating them down, right? And so those two, they would do little things when they were little that just they one day they decided that they wanted to go through the middle of the trampoline, got a hold of the scissors and cut a hole in the middle of the trampoline because they're like, what if we were able to just jump through the middle of the trampoline? Little things like that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I mean,
Curiosity.
yeah, just curiosity. And
Yeah.
I mean, they're just amazing kids. I mean, one time, you could ask Drake this one of these times, that he went in my neighbor's home and there was nobody home. Found a fresh batch of cookies, came out and offered all of us a cookie. And I'm like, where'd you get those cookies? He goes, the Thompsons? I'm like, did they give you those cookies? He goes, no, it was just there. So I thought that we should eat them.
His heart's in the right place, if he just got them from the wrong place.
So I said, go take those cookies in and then come back here. We're going to go for a ride. Loaded up my whole family in the car, right? I think Drake's probably like 6.
Oh.
And we drove over to the police, right, to the police station. And I walk him in there and he goes, Daddy, what are you doing? And I go, this is what happens when we steal.
Yeah.
Right? Now, I look back on it, and that was a harsh thing, but at that time, I was in corrections, right? And I didn't want my kid to think that that was a good thing. So I take him in there, and the police officer, you know, says to him, yeah, what you did was not good. Do you want to go to jail? And he's just bawling. Well, all my other kids are in the van, and they're all bawling. Are they going to take Drakey? Are they going to lock him up? All this stuff. And then afterwards, I come back in, and we all sit in the van, and I'm sitting there explaining to them, there are things that don't belong to us. Do we ever touch it?
Yeah.
No. I was like, even something like a plate of cookies. I'm sure the Thompsons wouldn't have been mad if they found out we ate their cookies. But was it appropriate to take their cookies? No. Sorry, Dad. Before you know it, they're all crying. You know, I'm bawling because it was a hard thing, right? But afterwards, you know, my wife just said, man, why are you so hard on them? I'm like, it'll never happen again, I promise.
Yeah.
I go, I know that this sucks, but this will never happen again.
Yeah.
You know, man, brother, I want to apologize to
Yeah.
you because I have another thing I need to get
Oh, that's
to.
okay. That's great. That's great.
But I do know that I would love to sit down and go
Yeah.
do this some more.
Maybe we can do this another time. We'll get together and we'll shoot it again.
Well, I definitely know that we have to get together anyway.
Yeah,
'cause there's
absolutely.
some things that we're supposed to do together.
Yeah, I like that. Is there anything that we missed off the table? Is there anything you want to talk about?
You know, not that I can think of, other than I would say this about this little town of Cedar
Yeah.
City. This little town has been one of the greatest blessings in my life. I don't have any idea why I came here, but I believe it wasn't only for football, it wasn't only for school. It was literally a place to be able to raise my family. You know,
Yeah.
I don't have a kid in my family, and out of my children, that have ever gotten in trouble, knock on wood,
Yeah.
right? And all 4 of my kids are loving humans. They're good with people. Three of them were all in mental health, right? Drake, Drew, and Marley. They're all in mental health, worked in it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the other boy, his name is Mason, graduated in mental health as well, right? But he's using it in a different way and serving people. He just finished playing football at BYU.
Oh, wow.
But you know, the greatest story I've learned from all my kids, as I've shared with them about doing big things, every one of them have shared with me, Dad, do you think that has a lot to do with why we didn't go on in football or why this didn't happen? And I'm like, you know something? The fact that you're learning that lesson now tells me that it has nothing to do with why you didn't go on in football. It tells me it's just a lesson that you are needing to learn now.
Yeah.
Because whatever you're going to do with the rest of your life, you need to understand you're supposed to do big things.
It helps you pivot.
That's right.
Yeah.
So when I share things like that with my kids, then they don't punish themselves for things that they weren't able to do.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? And I just let them know, no, everything is in its own timing. You know, I had to learn finally at age 60 that everything I've done up to this point has been amazing, but I'm supposed to do something big before I leave this earth.
I think you're doing it.
So I appreciate that, bro.
Yeah, I think you're doing it, and it's been an absolute pleasure to even sit with you for this long. I appreciate it, I really do. I have one more question for you.
Okay.
It could do with anything and whatever comes to mind. What makes the difference?
What makes a difference in my life is my wife. I know that you've lost yours, right? But she probably made a difference in your life.
She still does, man.
That's what I'm saying.
She still does.
She made a difference in your life, and she does it now, and you probably didn't even know that it would now that she's gone.
Oh man, I see her in so many things,
Yeah.
and even teaching the boys, and just the stuff that we've gone through and the places we go. You know, it's in everything we do. What she's taught me more, and I've even said this to my therapist is I'm finally now the guy that she deserved. You know,
That's right.
and I love that.
I'll tell you that, man, you and I have so much to talk about, Rob. My wife went through cancer as well. Scariest time in our lives.
Yeah.
My kids, my life. Yet I still tried to be strong, thinking, it won't happen. She'll be fine, right? With the idea back there thinking, but there's a chance she leaves me. And what do I do then?
Yeah.
Right? I've never had a problem with cooking, never had a problem with planning meals. I do all of that now. But just looking at my life without my wife, it'd be totally different if she weren't there, right? So that's a story for another time, but I will tell you something, Rob. Thank you for letting me sit down with you.
Yeah.
Let me drop a tear here at your table and be able to share my heart with you. I believe I felt your heart too. And I think that there's a lot of things we're supposed to do together. So I apologize I have to go.
No, you're great. Don't even sweat it. I'm looking forward to what we have coming up, and I hope that I can help you like I'm helping others at the moment with podcasting and things like that.
Oh, I know you can help me.
Yeah, I really do. I think we do, and I would love to have the chance to be on stage with you too.
Okay.
I love talking. I love doing talks, and sounds like you're doing the same thing. So whenever you need to utilize me, I'm there.
Sounds good, brother.
Yeah.
If you'll just set up in your schedule.
Yep.
When you'd like me to come back through.
Yeah.
Thursday evenings are usually good for me. Tonight I had a Zoom meeting that I had set up.
Yeah. No
that
worries.
I sent you an invite for. If at 8 o'clock in the next half hour or so you're okay to join me on that Zoom.
Rock on.
I would love to have you on there.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's do it.
But
yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and head back.
No,
so
thank
I
you
can
so
get
much.
some things done.
I appreciate you. Everyone out there, thank you so much. I'm going to get on some amber and we'll get off this podcast. Cheers.
Much love, everybody.
Thank you. Yeah, no, we're good. Thank you, YouTube. Just grab that mic off your shirt there and we'll be we'll be rocking.
That would not have been good.
No, I appreciate it. I